Hi, it's Tom from Digital Foundry, and this is Assassin's Creed Syndicate running on PS4 and Xbox One side by side. With the PC version still in the works, Ubisoft's latest entry in its flagship series has a lot going for itself on console, a game that throws us into London at the height of an industrial revolution. If you'll remember, Assassin's Creed Unity was an impressive technical accomplishment a year ago. It had state-of-the-art material lighting alongside one of the most detailed worlds we've seen in a current-gen title, plus a massive NPC count that could run into the hundreds. It remains impressive for its beautiful recreation of 16th century Paris, but in all formats it was clear Unity suffered from doing too much too soon. Glitches often marred the experience on release, and the heavy frame rate drops gave the impression its Anvil Next engine needed more tuning on PS4 and Xbox One. So fast forward to this week and Assassin's Creed Syndicate shows Ubisoft redeeming its flagship series to a great extent. So here are the 5 things to know about how it runs and looks on console and how it differs from Unity.
Whitechapel's clinkers remain opposed, but they're no match for the blighters.
Number 1. PS4's frame rate is better. If you're buying on console, this is the single biggest difference between PS4 and Xbox One versions. Performance is substantially improved over Unity across the board, which often struggled to hit that 30 FPS target on console, but in Assassin's Creed Syndicate it's a far better state of affairs. Both consoles have drops, but it's clear they aren't nearly as damning for the final experience. Between the two consoles though, it's fair to say PS4 will give you the better frame rate overall. In gameplay it mostly runs at 30 FPS besides a few fast travelling sections across the streets. On Xbox One though, we're looking at drops to the mid-20s in matching scenarios. All told, PS4 gives the smoother experience in combat around London's back alleys and also high-speed chases down busy streets. As for cutscenes, performance suffers a bit more on both consoles, but thankfully this doesn't affect gameplay itself. In these scenarios we're looking at a PS4 advantage as well. Xbox One can at times drop to as low as 20 FPS at points like this, and relatively speaking Sony's console keeps the high ground at around 25 frames per second. Curiously, this affects scenes you wouldn't expect to tax the engine all that much, such as close-ups on characters, but either way PS4 always runs at the higher rate. Number 2. Visuals are identical on console. Having dissected the game closely, the visual setup on PS4 and Xbox One is nigh on identical. Image quality is untouched from Unity, and once again both consoles push out a 900p resolution backed by post-process anti-aliasing. In practice, Syndicate doesn't always look as good as it could, and even with this post-AA solution in play, aliasing artifacts can often crop up around the world. But on the whole, this 900p resolution on both consoles means we get a clear enough view of London's horizon from a distance. But as for the core visuals, once again everything's the same. We're looking at an identical set of assets and effects on both versions of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Shadows and lighting are matched, and the same textures and normal maps are deployed across characters and environments, using what appears to be a 4x implementation of anisotropic filtering. In other words, whatever platform you end up getting the game on, you won't be missing out here. Number 3. Lighting gets a major shake-up. So lighting sees a big change in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, with the game returning to a dynamic time of day setup. This was seen in Assassin's Creed Black Flag as well, and means daytime rolls into night dynamically as we leave the character to look over famous landmarks. For example, check out this time-lapse shot of St. Paul's Cathedral, which was captured over the course of a day and sped up. The results are pretty spectacular. Now this wasn't possible in last year's Unity, which instead used several set time points that were fixed in place for each mission. The lighting didn't shift over the course of a mission like this, and by comparison Syndicate produces a world which feels all the more dynamic for it. Added to that, variable weather conditions and cloud coverage are brought in too, which really varies the mood across London each time we play. But this comes at a cost. This real-time lighting model replaces the stunning Bates global illumination system of Unity, meaning on balance the lighting doesn't feel quite as rich across the world. It's a different setting of course, but indoors or out, most lighting conditions produce flatter results overall by comparison to Unity, and with fewer indirect light sources rendered on screen. Otherwise, Ubisoft's impressive use of physically based materials still forms a fundamental part in how the City of London is displayed. Surface properties across the world produce realistic results, such as stone and leather and skin shading on characters. Subsurface scattering is present on faces, simulating the way light penetrates skin too. These aspects appear slightly less refined when compared to the last game, but they still look great. Number 4. Syndicate's scale is different to Unity's. For Ubisoft's latest, the star of the show really is the city of London itself. Exploring it for the first time shows an impeccable attention to detail. It's a tribute to the city's architectural highlights, just as Assassin's Creed Unity was to 16th century Paris. Internal exploration has been reduced with fewer buildings that are accessible by the player, but even so we can explore outposts in gang-controlled territory, along with historic locations that play a key part in the game's story. It's huge, and travelling the streets and over rooftops we see brickwork, debris and incidental objects rendered with precision. And crucially, draw distances comfortably render the city's big details far away, meaning popping is much less of an issue this time. But one difference from Assassin's Creed Unity is its handling of NPCs across the world. This isn't a city in revolt after all, and in Syndicate, characters don't cluster up to the hundreds as we saw in the last game. Rather, they're scattered across the streets in a way you'd expect. For regular gameplay, the wider roads in London give the impression there are fewer NPCs, but the city itself is far from empty. For example, passing traffic consists of horse-driven carriages, and the handful of citizens going about their daily lives still gives the sense of life to the streets. It's far less claustrophobic than it was before, but it's also fair to say it's a look that fits the city. Number 5. Optimization for console is improved overall. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is a much more polished product than the Unity before it. It may not match the last game point for point in terms of lighting and the sheer density of NPCs, but performance and overall stability are much better. From our experience so far, gameplay is not only smoother on console, but also free of the many bugs we experienced in Unity. It's a more refined game overall. It's less overtly ambitious, but it shoots for more achievable targets and hits them well. And on a technical slant, PS4 benefits most from the shift in rendering priorities made in Syndicate as well, with the game frequently hitting a 30 FPS update throughout. And as we've mentioned, Xbox One also improves over last year's game in this regard. It doesn't quite match Sony's platform in overall smoothness, with larger and more common frame rate drops across the board, but it's a step forward for both platforms. Of course, the PC version is still in development, so it'll be interesting to see what extras Ubisoft packs into that version. But at the very least, Assassin's Creed Syndicate on console is a much stronger, better rounded effort, and we hope this holds true on PC as well. Anyway, that's all for now. Hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you found this useful, and catch you in the next one.